Alrighty guys, welcome back. We are playing Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 2, Watanagashi. Last time we... Oh, last time we started attending Watanagashi, the namesake of the chapter, of course. And I don't know, we're about to head into the ritual equipment warehouse, and I do who knows what, I guess. We're gonna learn some history, I suppose. So, it sounds good to me. I don't know, I don't know. Shion's here, unfortunately. I don't like that too much. But, I don't know. I guess we're on Takano's crazy ride here. We're gonna see what happens. I'm a little bit worried, because Watanagashi and Onikashi is where everything went terribly wrong immediately following it, so... Oh, God. I guess we will see if that holds true. Tomitake-san waved his hand to see us off. The inside was pitch black, but Takano-san turned on the battery-powered lantern she'd brought, revealing a pretty cramped front room.
真っ暗だね。みんな転ばないように気をつけるんだよ。
ご心配ありがとう。じゃあ、門番をよろしくね。
I gotta close this door. Okay.
ここ、閉めるわよ。
Shut it! We have to shut the door? Why? Please don't do that! Takano-san smiled spitefully, as if leaving Tomitake-san out of something fun, and began to close the door.
やれやれ。じゃあみんな、ゆっくり楽しんでおいで。
See, again, I mean, I literally just, I just speculated about this last time, so I'm just talking about the same stuff again. But this, to me, sneaking into this warehouse seems like something that it makes much more sense for Tomitake and Takano to get killed for, you know, if we're going on the whole village conspiracy angle. Well, I guess no, you could even if you're not going the village conspiracy angle, it could be like they're making God angry by doing this, you know, so... I guess I'm just, again, if they did this still in Onikashi as well, but even though I don't think they did, because Tomitake was watching Rika, that would make sense to me, I guess. Assuming they're still going to die. They're going to be the ones who die to the curse in the Onikashi this time, right? There was a low, heavy, and loud noise, and we were completely cut off from the outside world, and covered in silent darkness. Why did we close the door? Takano-san's lantern was the only light we had. Oh, it's empty. It's okay. Nothing in here. Okay, I wasn't thinking about that, but thank you. Thank you for letting me know that it's not gonna go out, definitely for sure. Looks like Takano noticed my uneasy expression. I couldn't help but blush a little and avert my gaze. Deeper inside, there was a heavy and old but sturdy door with solemn decorations on it. It was the last door sealing away what was within. Saiguden. Takano-san explained this, awfully impressed by the construction. Okay, so it's that big of a deal. They have to have a double door system so no one outside could ever see inside at the... Okay. But still, it's really dark in here. Huh? That over there, I spotted a circuit breaker hanging from a clump of wiring, clumsily attached to the wall. I'm surprised there's electricity in here. Please don't just start touching things. Okay, I flipped the biggest switch I can find, and with a click, the pitch-black room was illuminated by an old bare light bulb. Okay, well, you got lucky, I guess. Everyone scrunched up their faces at the sudden strobe-like brightness. Before she even finished, she unslapped my hand and flipped the switch back. Oh yeah, everyone's gonna note, it's definitely, there's no way it just maintains all the light inside perfectly, you know, it's a wooden building, There was another loud click, and the room returned to darkness, with only the lantern for illumination. Did I already read that? I don't know, maybe I did. I forgot. I'm scolded by Shion fairly harshly. It looked like she was worried about whether someone had seen them from the momentary light. Takano-san remained a relaxed adult. It seemed she was confident she could talk her way out of it if someone did see us. I guess. The even heavier door opened, And this time, it wasn't just the dust that came out with the air. There was also a nasty smell. All the dead bodies are in there. That's where they've been hiding them. One smell was like opening a dust-filled cupboard in the back of a kitchen that hadn't been opened in years. And the other smell, the nasty one, was hard to explain, but it was like the raw odor of a fish market. Okay, like, hello? Like, what? From how the sound echoed, this room felt far larger than the first. Takano-san held up her lantern and revealed the contents of the expansive room. Yeah, it's the dead bodies. They're here. At the back wall of the storehouse, right in front of us, was a Buddha-like holy object standing there, looking down at us. I was taken aback by its unseen force, lit up by the slender beam of the lantern. Oyashiro-sama, I'd assume, right? A depiction of him or her. For some reason, I feel like Oyashiro-sama, maybe I'm just weird, it sounds like a more feminine thing to me, and that looks like a more feminine, but they always use he, him. Even though I know Japan doesn't have, like, the same kind of pronoun system we really do, like, you know, obviously. You use, like, proper nouns. You use proper nouns when describing things very often. So I literally think, in a lot of lines where they've used he, him for Oyashiro-sama, the character has actually just been saying Oyashiro-sama, and then they just replace it with he/him to, like, translate it better. So, I don't know. Oyashiro-sama. So this is the spirit protecting Hinamizawa. The one guarding the holy land of Hinamizawa from the impurities of the outside world, and the one delivering punishment after punishment upon those who attempted to sully the land with the dam construction. Anyway, yeah, and it looks like there's a bunch of torture implements around here. I should have mentioned that too. We got a sarcophagus, like the one from Berserk they were shoving Casca into. We got, like, what do we have over here? I don't even know. I can't, like... Nothing good, that's for sure. Even in the dim light, I could see a lot of strange objects lining the walls, ceiling, and shelves. Yeah, I mean, we have a surgery table where they, I don't know, rip you apart. I don't know, they tie you to this, and this wheel splits you in half. Let's see here. They put you in these cages up here. They'll leave you there, probably. Yeah, looks good to me. Looks awesome. Looks real good. Yeah. Takano-san, speaking as if in a trance, was infatuated by the various implements filling the dark room. They weren't very festival-like or traditional, but instead, this was more like the workshop of a blacksmith or a carpenter. If I walked into a blacksmith and they had this or this, I don't know. I would leave. Like, not that I'm visiting many blacksmiths, but there were a lot of large wooden and metal tools packed in here. Putting it bluntly, it was all pretty boring stuff. I'd imagine that there would be more artistic things in here from the Heian period, but these are a far cry from being cultural artifacts. My expression betrayed my dashed hopes, and they caught on right away. Oops, my bad. What? He's not into literature or art. He hates media? Come on. As he wouldn't be watching reaction channels. Takano-san reached into a paper bag that she'd been holding the whole time, took out a worn scrapbook, and began to flip through it. Oh, from those tips last time, right? Please do. Telling stories in such a dark, creepy place. She must have a horror story in mind. Shion's face belied nothing but calm. If she had the same personality as Mion, she'd have found fault with me being scared. I'll endure it for now and pretend to be calm. Of course, like, God, I hate this. I hate this line. I hope you can understand why. I don't know. Like, I want Shion and Mion to be in completely different, separate categories. I want Keiichi to, like, think about how Shion belongs at the bottom of a trash can, and Mion is, like, a normal, awesome person who's great. That's like my preferred, like, mentality that Keiichi should have about them. I don't like this comparison between them ever. My bad. After confirming that I was going to be quiet and listen, she began to speak softly, like a kindergarten teacher reading a picture book.
昔々ある山奥の村にね、その沼
My
は
bad.
ね、底なしの深い深い沼でね、
Onigafchi.
地の底の鬼の国につながっていたんですって。
The rumor said that it was deeper than the ocean, and that anyone it swallowed would sink into the underworld, a bottomless swamp. Its name was Onigafchi. Wait, I thought back to the story I heard yesterday about the sacrifices sinking into the bottomless swamp. Could that be the swamp she's talking about? No, it's a different one. Nope, sorry Keiichi, you're wrong.
ってことは、その村はひなみ沢ですね。
察しがいいわね。そうよ。当時は鬼ヶ淵村って呼ばれてたけどね。
鬼ヶ淵村。物騒な響きのある名前だな。
Pretty inauspicious, is it? I guess. Yeah, sure.
イメージもあったんでしょうね。
Yeah, I guess, you know. The Hell Swamp is
明治の
kinda...
頃に今の名前に改称されたって聞きました。
Don't know when that period was, but you know what? I'm gonna look it up. I'm actually curious. When, whoops. When was Meiji period? 1868 was when it started. 1868 to 1912. Okay, so like not a ridiculously long time ago, but no one's alive from then still. The name of the swamp connected to hell was called Onigafchi, which meant the demon's abyss. And the true name of this village, Hinamizawa, was Onigafchi Village. What do you mean the true name? They just changed it. That doesn't mean it's the true name. Like, come on.
村人たちは鬼の国、つまりは地獄のことね。鬼の国とつながるという沼を崇めながら過ごしてきたの。でもね、ある日のこと。
Demons began to appear, one after the other, from deep in the swamp. That looks really... Yeah, that looks great. Awesome. The villagers feared that hell was overflowing. The demons mercilessly attacked the villagers. Every time I hear that sound effect, man, like... They could only watch in fear. They could do no more than hide themselves and tremble.
誰かが鬼を退治するわけですか？
残念だけど、このお話には桃太郎みたいな正義の味方は登場しないわ。
じゃあ、村を挙げて戦うわけですか？
まさか。
Oh no.
村人たちに鬼と互角に戦える力などあるわけもない。
They lost.
じゃあ、村を捨てて逃げるしかない
Or they just, like, stayed here and they hung out with the demons.
それも無理ね。村人たちにとっても、
And Oyashiro-sama won't let you leave, right?
攻めてきたからといって簡単に逃げ出せるはずもなかったのよ。
Sorry, I shouldn't talk over them talking. It's probably annoying. But yeah, I also like the thing with Oyashiro-sama not letting you leave, right? So, I don't know.
じゃあ、どうするんですか？滅びるしかないじゃないですか。
Unable to fight and unable to run. All they could do was wait for the village to be destroyed. Then, when everyone had lost hope, their god, Oyashiro-sama, descended onto them.
なるほど。つ
Hmm.
まり、天からやってきたお社様が鬼たちをやっつけるわけですか。
ケイちゃんは男の子ですね。
Oh, man.
すぐに腕力で解決する方に走るんですから。
Shion sighed, a little annoyed. Embarrassed, I held my tongue.
お社様はね、やっつけるとかそういう暴力的な神様じゃなかったの。もっと優しい慈愛のある神様だったの。
Okay. That is not the, I don't know. That's not how I have felt about Oyashiro-sama, that's for sure. The strength of Oyashiro-sama descended from the heavens couldn't be compared to that of the demons. They didn't even fight. They simply prostrated themselves before his radiant authority. Oyashiro-sama urged them to go back to hell from whence they came, but the demons wept and challenged him, saying they could never return.
鬼たちの世界にも
Hmm.
厳しい戒律が
So I guess, so this is probably, it's probably, like, this is the origin of the whole, like, the residents of Hinamizawa, of Onigafchi back then, are, like, demons, right? Like, I assume what's gonna happen here is that the demons are gonna stay, And they're gonna be, you know, it's gonna be like the lore here is that people in Hinamizawa are like descended from demons, you know? And I guess that's more of like the whole Oyashiro-sama not letting people leave, like with Rena, for example, is because it's like, you know, he's keeping the, you know, keeping the demons of Onigashiki in the village, right?
彼らは地獄を追放された鬼たちだったんですって。
Demons, who didn't have a place to go, neither in hell nor in the human world. Of course, they were at fault for attacking the village. They deeply reflected on it and were sorry.
村人たちも話を聞くうちに少しずつ気の毒になっていったわ。それでね、村のみんなで話し合った結果、鬼たちと一緒に住むことを決めたの。
Sounds good to me.
退治するとか追っ払うっていう昔話は多いけど、共存ってのは確かに珍しいですね。
ですよね。鬼ってのは元来諸悪の象徴のはず。
Mm-hmm.
それとの共存を決めたというお話なんだから、本当に変わってます。
When the demons first heard the villagers' invitation, they doubted their ears, but soon burst into tears of joy. The villagers had given them a place to live. It reminds me, like, vaguely of just, like, the struggle that Keiichi has had with, like, fitting in and Hinamizawa in general. You know, that was kind of, like, the main thing of, like, Onikashi in general, that whole chapter, you know? It's just, like, him feeling like an outsider and all that. I don't know. Is Keiichi a demon, I guess? Not, like, literally, but, like, you know what I mean, you know? It's kind of just been a consistent theme, has just been the idea of fitting in, and yeah. It was said that in payment for this good deed, the demons shared their many kinds of power and secrets with the villagers.
お社様はその微笑ましい交流をとても喜んでね、鬼たちが村人と分け隔てなく暮らせるよう、
Mm-hmm.
人間の姿を与えたんですって。そして自らも地上にとどまり、末永く両者の交流を見守ることにしたんだそうよ。
A land in which man, demon, and god live together. I had thought the word demon was a noun meaning evil that needs to be exterminated. A god may have mediated for them, but you don't often hear happy endings like that, where both sides live in harmony. I see. I guess it is kind of interesting.
普通のおとぎ話ならここで終わりなんだけどね。このお話は江戸時代にだいぶ加筆されたみたいで、まだまだ続く随分と長い話になってるわ。
After that, the humans and demons intermixed, and eventually there was no difference between them. I wonder why. Oh no, I guess I don't wonder why. I just think it's interesting to think about how, like, mentally, I'm so able to think about and accept the idea that Oyashiro-sama, or like supernatural elements in the story in general, might exist and might be real. Like, you know, even now, it feels like this chapter is really trying to push me towards the human perpetrator, like, side, but it's so hard for me to break away from the idea that it's just all crazy supernatural stuff going on. And I'm able to think of that, but then, like, stories like this, the idea of humans and demons and all of this, like, taking this story literally, it's just ridiculous, right? Like, I feel like it's just obviously ridiculous to take this as anything more than a fairy tale. And I guess, I don't know, I wonder how much of that is just, like, my mentality about it, just not wanting to... Because it's like the same thing with Keiichi, you know? It's like the same reason why Keiichi would want to believe there was a curse. Because that means his friends aren't trying to kill him, you know? So... I don't know, just something interesting to think about, I guess. How I can immediately just see this in the sense of, like, oh, this is just a fairy tale. That's just, like, you know, I can just look for, like, analogies for this and the current situation and, like, what it means in that sense. It's not, like, literal. But with Oyashiro-sama, I'm like, oh, yeah, he's probably real.
鬼の存在は結局村に溶け込んで消えてしまったということですか。
いいえ、消えたりなんかしないです。
They're still around, I'm
半
sure.
分はしっかりと残ってたそうですよ。
The knowledge the villagers had received from the demons basically made them into something inhuman, what people call transcendent. They were well aware the power they had was heresy, and as those below worshipped them, they lived out their lives in secrecy.
このお話がね、その後に派生するたくさんの昔話、フィクションの原点になってるの。だからこのお話がある意味基礎中の基礎。ベーシックね。
Okay.
原点ってどういう意味ですか？
Well, it's kind of like the root of everything about Hinamizawa in general, right?
村人たちは鬼の血を引いているという部分ですね。つまりこの辺りに伝わるさまざまな伝承や
Yeah.
昔話は全部その村の人たちは鬼の血を引いているというのが前提になっているんです。
There was a hint of amusement in Shion's face as she said that. It was like she wanted to say that she, too, had demon blood in her. Or she's just, like, not taking it seriously at all. Is there any proof, though? No, it's not real. Maybe it's somehow rooted in historical fact beyond just fairy tales.
じゃあ前原君は沼から鬼が現れて人間と交わったっていうのは
Oh no, of
本
course...
当にあった出来事だって
Like, of
信
course...
じてるのかしら。
of course, I don't believe that. But it's making me just feel silly for entertaining any of the supernatural stuff in the story, so...
信じないわけじゃないんですけど。
When she said demon, she meant the ones from hell, but... in ancient Japan, the word wasn't necessarily used to denote only that kind, right? The more well-known use involves the drifting foreigner theory. I don't like the sound of that. As the story goes, Westerners who were shipwrecked in nearby seas had such markedly different customs that they were called demons. Japanese people were relatively similar in appearance to other Asians, but everything about those from the West was different. Their physiques, their faces, and their skin color. In Japan, terms like red demon and blue demon evoke images especially of Westerners. Lacking in skin pigments, Westerners would sunburn easily and turn red. Being fair-skinned, I think blood vessels appearing on their skin would look blue too. A handful of accidental aliens would drift into Japan and came under persecution, being called demons. They would flee into the mountains to survive, turn into bandit groups, and attack villages for food and the like.
なんて説はどうでしょう。
Interesting. I've never... is that true? I mean, I guess I'm Googling it. We're making use of a lot of Google. I don't know. Drifting... foreigner theory. Yeah, okay. I guess. Well, maybe, is it? Well, I don't know. It just... searching it in quotes, I guess. I don't know. It's interesting, I guess. I guess because obviously, you know, it's kind of like a... it's a thing that people say all the time about how, like, xenophobic Japan is, which... I mean, I don't know how true it is exactly. I assume it's probably... I don't know. Seems pretty true to me, but... I don't know, it makes sense, because they are, you know, it's... I feel like a lot of places that are, like, an isolated island that's, like, very ethnocentric in a way, and very... not ethnocentric, like... what's the word? Ethno-homogeneous? Ethno-homogeneous? Is that the word I'm looking for? No. Ethno-hetero... no, ethno-homogeneous, right? That's the word I'm looking for. It's just, like, becoming, like, a xenophobic society is just kind of, like, I don't know. It feels like just human nature, in a way. So, I don't know. I wonder if... I've never heard all this, though. It's interesting, I guess, to think about. And, like, obviously with, like, Hinamizawa and the whole village conspiracy angle... kind of being rooted in, like, xenophobia, in a sense, you know. Obviously, the whole, like, city-rural divide is kind of like a thing in, like, every country everywhere, so... I don't even know if you can just call it xenophobia, it's just... It's always something, I suppose.
ちょっと子供じみてますかね。
Takano gave me a weird smile when, having come up with such an impromptu hypothesis, I unconsciously followed it up with self-deprecation. Still, she didn't smile as if to make fun of me.
別におかしくないわよ。実際に漂流偉人説を唱える人もいるもの。でも実際はどうなのかは誰にもわからない。
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's not even... I mean, like, is it even a theory? Like, I guess. It's just like an explanation for something that I guess probably did happen, right? It's just the idea of people showing up that don't look like everyone in Japan and then being treated weirdly. You know, like, I don't know. Sounds right to me.
山賊化した偉人の集団だったのか。本当に地の
well,
底から来た鬼たちだったの。
I feel like one of those is probably more likely than the other. I don't know.
じゃあ、高野さんはどっちを信じてるんですか？
真相は別にして、夢のある方を信じたいわね。その方が面白いでしょ。
The opposite of Occam's razor. Her answer made her sound a wee bit like a romanticist. Here I thought she'd reject unrealistic stories like that.
さて、いよいよここからよ。面白くなるのは。
Awesome. Takano-san brought an end to her storytelling and waits for a moment as if to tantalize us.
Huh?
Suddenly, Shion looked around as if something had caught her eye. Her Her head bobbed to and fro, like she was making sure nothing had changed.
どうしたシオン？
ごめんなさい。気にしないでください。
Okay, tell me. What do you mean? I'm writing this down. Like, hello? Shion. Acting weird. I'm writing that down. Surely I remember what that means, right? Shion pretended as though nothing had happened. What happened? Takano-san also made sure nothing had happened, then cleared her throat and broached the next subject. Okay, great, awesome. That was really good. That was really, yeah, useful. Thanks for all that. Everything on my screen right now, thank you. I'm glad that happened. That's good.
村人たちに半分鬼の血が流れてるのは話したわね。
We're probably more than half by now, right?
実はその血なんだけど、鬼は鬼でも人食い鬼の血なんだって言われてるの。
Okay.
人食い鬼ですか？急に物騒な響きになりましたね。
その血は今でも村人たちには脈々と流れていてね。時折その血が眠りを覚ますと言われている。
Okay. So obviously, like, what this is supposed to make you think is, like, as an explanation for, like, Rina and Mion's weird behavior in Onikashi. When they would enter their, you know, their different form, the other version of themselves, as Keiichi would call it, you know? I don't buy that. I don't believe that at all. But again, I don't know why I can just reject that wholeheartedly when I'm already entertaining the idea of supernatural elements in the story. So, I mean, I guess we'll hear her out. It's just obviously that's what this is supposed to make you think about, right? I thought the fairy tale had a happy ending, with the humans and demons living in peace, but it began to suddenly change into a brutal, bloody story.
人食い鬼だから何十年かに一度どうしても人肉が食べたくて仕方がなくなる周期があるんです。
If it's only every decade or so, that's
だ
okay.
からって村人同士で共食いするわけにはいかない。だから彼らはそのために人里へ降り、鬼隠しをしたと伝えられてるわ。
何ですか？鬼隠しって。
God, Keiichi, you were behind. Come on.
平たく言えば鬼たちによる誘拐行為よ。鬼ヶ淵村の村人たちが人里に押し寄せ、
Oh,
哀
okay.
れな生贄を無理やり力ずくでさらったんです。
They would just go raid other villages. Great. Takano-san's explanation was plain and simple, but when I imagined what it must have been like, it was terrifying. They lose their human reason. The villagers turn into real demons en masse. They attack the villages they loathe, and the dirty world of the masses below. And then they kill and eat their
それ
sacrifices.
じゃあ鬼と何ら変わりないじゃないですか。お社様はどうしたんです？
Nothing.
その村にとどまって人々を見守ってるんじゃなかったでしたっけ？
もちろんお社様も了承してたそうよ。だから鬼隠しは無差別ではなく神様が決めた生贄以外には
Oh
誰もさ
God.
れなかったらしいし、
He was a willing
ほ
participant.
とんどの場合は一人か二人だったって記されてるわね。
A village inhabited by those both human and inhuman. It was like the heartwarming episode's colors had inverted, like negative film, revealing the painful and ugly truth.
そうして生贄をさらってきた夜にはね、哀れな犠牲者を美味しくいただくため綿流しの儀式が開かれたというわ。
Okay. Watanagashi. Tonight's festival was Watanagashi. Yeah. But okay, but obviously Watanagashi now isn't similar at all. I mean, unless we're just saying like obviously I guess the implication here is that the Onikashi and the murder every year is like them continuing this tradition, I guess, and that's why it's Watanagashi. I guess in that sense that makes more sense than like why it's happened on Watanagashi every year. You know, like that's an explanation for why it's happening on Watanagashi, I guess, right? Because I guess that's just always just been like that's just what it happens. We've never really had an explanation for it. I just couldn't reconcile the fun festival with the horrible tale Takano-san was telling me.
綿流しは確か冬の間に使った布団なんかに感謝するお祭りじゃなかったでしたっけ？
ケイちゃん、綿って言いません？
Couldn't tell you.
臓物のこと。
Oh, great. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, why not? Shion, who had been silent until now, spoke up.
綿？そういえば言うな。魚の綿っていう。え
Like a jigsaw puzzle, the fun times I had today and Takano-san's grotesque tale clicked together in my mind.
Watanagashi.
Awesome. Awesome. So it's not just cotton drifting, it's... good. Good. Yeah, why not? Okay, cool. Fantastic. I didn't think saying that could ever feel so nauseating.
そう、前原君の想像している通りよ。
Hmm.
こそ、渡流しは毎年6月に行われる。
I mean, yeah,
早い
I...
夏祭りに
maybe it was, but it's fine. It's fine now, right?
哀れな食材をさらってきた夜に
Great.
開かれた。凄惨な人食いの宴。
Oh, and that's what all this is for? That's what all these are for? To chop people up, I guess? Great, great, great. I had no real reason to say that, but I couldn't help it.
前原君はさっき綿流
You
し
so
は
da.
布団を清める儀式だと言ったわね。綿が詰まった布団って何を意味してると思うかしら。
Oh god, stop.
布団は布団だろ。シング、寝るための道具だよ。他に何の意味があるんだよ。
People. I was rattling on, desperately attempting to deny the horrible festival that Takano-san was describing. Deep down, however, I found myself understanding all too well what she meant. Futons, stuffed with cotton. If the cotton represented entrails in both pronunciation and meaning, then entrail-filled futons would have to be humans.
では、リカちゃんがやった奉納演舞を思い出してちょうだい。リカちゃんがあそこで何をしていた
Oh god.
わからねえよ。第一、リカちゃんの演舞は最後までちゃんと見てないし。
ケイちゃん、
Don't do that,
エキサ
Shion.
イトしすぎです。
Shion grabbed one of my ears, reminding me that this wasn't somewhere I should raise my voice. Even so, I still can't suppress this agitation I feel.
リカちゃんが持っていた祭事用のクワ、もううすうすは気づいてると思うけど、あれは田畑を耕すクワではなく。
Can I just say I'm not a fan of the company that Keiichi has right now. Shion and Takano. I feel like this isn't a good combination of people to be around ever. Like I don't know. I'm not liking this too much.
人間の腹をこじ開けるための解剖道具なのよ。
Oh, great. That'll be the thumbnail, I guess. We don't get to see Keiichi very often. Shion, let go of him. Get away from him. Leave. Go away. Like, I didn't see the dance all the way through, so I don't know what kind of performance Rika-chan was putting on after I'd left. When I told this to Takano-san, she kindly explained Rika-chan's dance to me. To summarize what she said, after what I'd seen, Rika-chan would pierce the futons with that hoe, cut them open, and pull out the cotton inside. She'd cut the cotton out, one bit at a time, and set it afloat. That's the kind of ritual it was.
平たく言えば、魚の綿を取り出して三角コーナーに捨てるのを仰々しく儀式仕立てにしたってことね。それで儀式はおしまい。
I mean, I assume she's not just making this up, right? Like, I assume this is true, that historically that this is true, right? Like, this would just be some insane, crazy conspiracy theory otherwise. Like, I maybe just some crazy pseudo-history nonsense. I guess I'm just gonna accept it as true. Because, I mean, we got so much information about Watanagashi from her and Onikashi that was true before, right? Like, the murders and stuff. So, like, guess I'm just gonna accept it as true for now.
その後は、それぞれの役割を持った村人たちが、おのおのに肉を解体して美味しくいただいたって考えられてるわね。
Fantastic, thank you. At Takano-san's strangely happy giggle, I felt, for some reason, violent displeasure. Rika-chan, every day during our lunch break, she'd take a rice-pounding mallet into the schoolyard, and she'd work so hard, sweating bullets, to practice for the offertory dance she'd done today. All that effort, all that work. Takano-san disgraced it. Okay. I guess. Even though she worked so hard to practice for today. Like, I wonder if Rika knows the history of it, right?
高野さんももう少し言葉を選んでほしいです。
Like, she's been in here, right?
ケイちゃん、ナイーブなんですから、あまりからかわないでください。
Okay, but I don't think she's just making this up. A moment before I opened my mouth to express how angry I was, Shion stopped me. Shion must have been fully aware how that story made me feel.
ごめんなさい。男の子だから、ショッキングな話は結構好きかと思って。
He's not a fan of that kind of thing, unfortunately. Takano-san spoke without a hint of malice as she smiled
こ
gracefully.
の辺まで話を聞けば、ケイちゃんにもこの細具殿の中にどういうものがあるのか
Yeah, the
理解できるようになってきませんか？
mutilation instruments.
ほら、
Shion pointed out one of the walls vaguely illuminated by the lantern's light. There was, mere moments ago, they hadn't held my interest. They were just boring-looking tools lined up on the shelves. All those uninteresting tools that I didn't understand how to use. They all suddenly took on a new meaning, and I couldn't help but let out a groan. At first, they had looked like carpentry tools, like chisels or planes. However, when I thought back, I'd seen pictures of these sorts of tools before. Where? Yeah, they came up in a Japanese history textbook. Yes, on the page introducing the Kaitai Shinsho, or the new text on anatomy.
こういうのはね、医学の本場、ドイツの文献の方がリアルに掲載されてるわよ。
Okay. These aren't carpentry tools. These strangely shaped tools, they're for dissection. Everyone knows that in the Edo period, they would dissect the corpses of those who had been put to death in order to gain knowledge about Western medical techniques. Illustrations of the dissection tools they used at the time came up in textbook supplements. The things hung up on this wall all looked exactly the same as theirs. Fantastic.
もっと怖い言い方をするなら、調理道具
Okay.
だったところかしら。
I don't want to look at what is wrong with Takano? What is wrong with her? It's like what? Yeah. Uh-huh. You are the demon. Takano-san, holding the lantern, the only light source in the room, led us along the wall. She had the only light, so I had to walk after her, whether I liked it or not.
ほら、
Takano-san illuminated a coiled chain, which left a bigger impression than the other things we saw. The chain in itself was nothing unusual, but further along it were metal fetters that were like hinges, clearly meant for binding people.
ケイちゃん、
Stop doing that, Shion.
あれ、
Shion tapped me on the shoulder and pointed to a restraining table that was clearly shaped like a person. Yeah, come on, hop in there, Keiichi. Come on, we'll tie you down. My spine froze. My blood felt like it was turning into sherbet as it crawled up my back. On each of the joints, there were things like chains and iron balls attached. It was like the table was searching for its next sacrifice, ready to spread their arms wide and close them in.
犠牲者を拘束してこの台の上でお料理をしたんだと思うわね。
And like it smells bad in here because there's just blood. They haven't cleaned it all. There's just blood everywhere. Like the words chopping block sent a jolt through my body. When I looked more closely, there were many dark slices carved into it. Wait, no, that should be though. As though from a knife or saw, not as through from a knife or saw, right? They were the most clear-cut signs of usage you could ask for. It proved these tools weren't just for show. They were used for their original purpose. If someone was strapped tightly onto this table, they probably wouldn't be able to move even a muscle. Their guts would be defenseless. You'd take one of those eerie cooking knives lined up over there, stab them with it, and then you'd slice open their belly and dissect them.
話には聞いてたけど、すごい。
Before coming in here, Shion had mentioned she had a good guess of what was inside, but it seems to have exceeded her imagination.
まだまだ。
Hmm...
どう？
No, let's leave.
老人形館より面白いでしょ。
Takano-san had this happy expression like she was visiting a toy store for the first time. I don't get it. This Mio Takano person has nerves of steel. Or these bizarre, grotesque objects that fascinating to her? How different it is from his attitude in Onikachi, right? Where he had this intense feeling that he had to know what was going on, you know. But that's because in Onikachi it was directly linked like to his own like feeling of fitting in or not, you know, the idea of him having to know. And in this case, I guess, you know, it's not, so he doesn't want to know. I, for one, was not enjoying myself. I'll be frank. This was all too weird for me. Still, there was something even more horrifying than all this. That would be none other than Takano-san herself. Exactly. Takano-san, holding the lantern, giving off such a thin beam of light. If she suddenly turned it off, then what would I do when, the next moment, everything went totally dark? You would die. That's why I was scared. Takano-san had the only light. And anyway, I was scared. At some point, Shion had started holding onto my shirt sleeve. Let go of him immediately. It was a little annoying to walk like that, but I didn't shake her off. That minor sensation allowed me to feel the presence of an ally, here and now. Do not think of Shion as an ally. Before we had even walked halfway through the storehouse, the air I felt on my skin changed completely. There's these cruel tools lined up, all crammed together in this place. Some were horrible ones made to take away sacrifices' freedom, and some were tools made to efficiently disassemble and prepare the bodies for consumption. Awesome. Those were just the things I understood. There were plenty of other strange-looking objects that I couldn't even guess the purpose of. Now that I was here, I didn't have the slightest desire to hear the details about what sort of terrifying reasons they were meant to be used for. Like, I guess the tools exist and they're here. So, like, obviously, just that alone, it's like, yeah, what Takano's saying has to be true, right? That this is true, that this is the history of Hinamizawa. That doesn't mean, like, the tradition has changed, obviously, and that's not what they do anymore, right? Like, it doesn't mean it has to be a village conspiracy. It doesn't explain Rena and Mion's weird behavior in Onikachi, right? So, I can't say that everything, like, that's just the point for me, where it's impossible for me to accept the village conspiracy option for the explanation of everything crazy, all the murders and everything, you know? Unless we're just gonna say there's a village conspiracy and also Rena and Mion are being possessed, that it's just separate things, but I feel like there has to be one explanation that explains everything, but I don't know. At the very least, they were all completely different from this sort of clean, simple killing function of a katana. Tools to kill people were, obviously, constructed in such a way that they could kill people. If that was the goal, then the person who used them on would, obviously, end up dead. The kinds of tools here, however, were different. God, he loves... come on. However, obviously, like, we're really having using these commas over and over again. The tools that were here were for cutting people, for crushing them, for boiling them and cooking them, and for grinding them. They were tools of torture. They weren't made to kill people. People dying was just an incidental result. Actually, they might not even kill them. If the sacrifices could die during such a horrifying ritual process, that would be nice, but they don't even die in the end. They remain in a state of hellish pain. Perhaps they were only being allowed to live. Only now, in this moment, did I fully realize just how terrifying and fearsome that difference was. Well, I think you're gonna die pretty quick, so I wouldn't be too worried. Although that does, like, I don't know. Kind of reminds me vaguely of, like, the psychological torture that Keiichi went through leading up to his death in Onikashi. Thank you. Takano-san, as if reading my mind, displayed a shocking smile. Does it? I guess. Yeah. She describes such horrors in a strangely medical way. Shion immediately answered the question I had. There's a saying that nothing can scare a doctor. I guess it's true. Thank you. Like, I guess her being a nurse makes sense, right? Like, if there's, I don't know, it makes sense for her, like, being so desensitized to all of this stuff, I suppose. I don't know, though. Like, now we're just talking about random execution method. Like, I don't, it's just, yeah, here, Keiichi, here's this other terrible things that happened unrelated to this. Thank you. To think the memories of when I went to a day camp with my family would come rushing back now of all times, so vividly. No, the grill, yeah. Like, we're just, like, thank you. Thank you for the completely unrelated descriptions of torture. It's very helpful. That's insane. You'd grill someone the whole day, and they'd still be conscious. It's said that ancient Rome, famous for their executions, thought of plenty of ways to execute someone while having the victim stay alive as long as possible. Okay. Good. Sounds awesome. Shion was behind me, clinging to me. Not just because she was scared. She was protecting her stomach. I don't know. I don't think about these things, Takano. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I've never thought about it. Good. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. Tell me more. I felt a sick feeling in my stomach. It was like my organs were coiling up, just from Takano's stare. Yeah. Good. It's not imaginable for me. Personally, when I'm just, sitting around, living life, I don't think about this kind of thing. So, you need to go to a psychologist. I don't know. I guess. I feel like the pain would probably be pretty significant, though. She spoke with pleasure, as if she had come here on a sightseeing trip. I heard Shion gulping multiple times near my ears. No, I can't. My bad. I wanted nothing more than to not hear anything at all. So why? Why only at times like these do I begin to hear things I shouldn't be able to? What are we gonna hear? Screaming, tortured people? Okay. Takano-san, having realized she'd scared Shion and I enough at this point, smiled soothingly. Thank you. Then, she turned on her heel, raised the lantern, and began to walk again. If Takano-san left us here, we'd get even further away from the light. Shion and I, no matter how scared we were first to follow Takano-san along on our field trip through the ritual storehouse. Fantastic, she says, raising the lantern high in the center of the storehouse. The dim lighting didn't change, but for some reason, it felt like I was able to see all of those horrible tools at once. Shion, you gotta stop doing that to me. Shion stammered while grabbing the nape of my neck. I couldn't tell because it was so dark, but there were a lot more tools hanging from the ceiling as well. They all looked like they were made of iron bars, but then I figured it out. Cages. Yeah, get in. Come on, buddy. Climb in. For cages, they were very small. Cramped cages, just for one, like a casket. If you got locked up in there, no, you wouldn't get locked up inside it. There was another tool meant for restraining people, where the iron bars would squeeze you tightly. Awesome. All of the so many, big and large, things of all shapes, were hanging down. Takano-san's mention of execution by grilling crosses my mind. We weren't just surrounded on all sides by these terrifying instruments. Things crowding the ceiling were even hanging over our heads. We are really challenging Keiichi's, more positive outlook on Hinamizawa. Compared to the last chapter now. We are really, I don't know, Takano's doing her best to undo that. Yeah, let's leave. Yeah, there's a dead body. Yeah. Shion desperately pointed to one of the many human-sized bird cages hanging from the ceiling, but I couldn't tell which one she meant. Being that dark, there wasn't any way you could tell if something was in there in the first place. Shion didn't seem convinced, but without a means to confirm for ourselves, we couldn't do much but wonder. I'm gonna write that down. Because this is the second time Shion is done. I don't know. She was acting like she noticed something earlier. She was acting weird, and now she saw something in a cage. But this might just be. It literally. I would give this a 90% chance that it means nothing, and it just is what Takano said. So I don't know. But I'm writing it down anyway, because we're getting some weirdness from Shion. It's got nothing to do with believing in them. Now that I've been shown the real thing like this, there's no possible way to deny it. Even the nations of Europe, with all their beautiful landscapes and legends, were like a maelstrom during the terrible witch hunts in the Dark Ages. It's well known that the era gave birth to countless gruesome forms of torture and execution. Japan was the same way. Didn't it have its own era of hellscape-like torturous feasts because of religious suppression and things of that nature? Hinamizawa itself had such a period. Yeah, it's not that different. Come on, it's fine. It had that much history behind it. Even in Europe, land of the witch hunts, there was all far in the past, no more than a series of historical events, and in this age, nothing that abnormal would ever happen. But I guess the idea is that Watanagashi still happens every year, right? That must apply to Hinamizawa as well.
中世の暗黒時代とかがそうだったように、ひなみ沢にも暗黒時代があった。そういうものなんだと解釈します。
But it's just the tradition continues, right?
本当にひなみ沢でこういう恐ろしいことがあったのだとしても、それは大昔の出来事なんです。今暮らしているひなみ沢の人々とは何の関係もないことです。
前原くんは本当にひなみ沢が好きなのね。
It didn't sound like she was making fun of me. Takano-san gave me a light smile.
でも高野さんはその風習が実は現代にも残っているんじゃないかと思って研究をしてるんです。そうでしたよね。
Shion suggested something that made my heart leap into my throat. Are you telling me that all these horrible things are still going on even today?
これ本当に内緒なんだからね。しおんちゃんは理解のある人だから話したけど、他の村人には聞かれたくないの。下手をしたら罰当たり者ってことで袋だけされかねないんだから。
I'm a little bit worried about that happening tonight. Shion flashed a devilish smile, as if reveling in the immorality of it.
前原くんも内緒にしてね。知られたら私、お社様のたたりに会うか、家にされちゃうかするかもしれない。
You sound a little bit excited about that.
たたりなら、今年はどんな死に方をさせられちゃうのかしら。
If I had to guess, Tomatake's gonna rip out his own throat.
生贄なら、鬼ヶ淵の沼に生きたまま沈められちゃうのかしら。そういえば今夜よね。お社様のたたりがある夜は。
Takano-san said, bringing her face right up close to ours. As if to say that she had the choice, she would rather suffer the curse. That was what she seemed to be implying. Takano-san took a fairly worn notebook out of her paper bag and began to flip through its pages. There were all sorts of references and newspaper clippings attached to them, and it had all manner of things written inside. The letters were very small and bunched together, so I couldn't tell at a glance what it was about.
本当は国会図書館で当時の新聞を探したいんだけどね。ほら、ここ。
A photocopy of a page from some book was slid into the notebook, and it, too, was written in small, tight lettering. Like the other pages, I couldn't tell what it was about just by glancing at it.
これは実際にあったお話よ。明治の終わり頃にね、鬼ヶ淵村で身元不明の惨殺死体が発見されたんです。
Perfect, just what we want. An old newspaper clipping attached to the page spoke of something that was no mere rumor or fairy tale.
当時の警察の資料がほとんど残ってないそうだから、口伝と記憶によるものだけなんだけどね。ほら、これ不鮮明だけど、明治の頃の新聞の切り抜きみたい。
Never before has there been a corpse treated with such cruelty and inhumanity. Could it be the work of a demon? Being a copy of a copy, it was very hard to make out, but it was more than enough to make me feel strangely tense. Near the end of the Meiji era, in old Onagashi village, a mangled corpse was discovered. The identity of the corpse was unknown. It wasn't even in a state where it could be identified in the first place, so I guess even more significant than the dismemberment murder, right? It was missing a head, and okay, never mind. And each limb was separated from the body, never mind. Skin had been peeled off the entire body, and there were markings that implied terrible torture in every place imaginable. Okay, no, so similar in the whole, you know, Bara Satsujin thing, right? Dismemberment murder, but more significant, I guess, right? Not only that, but the belly had been cut open by a sharp knife, with the entrails completely dragged out. The police immediately began an investigation, but since they couldn't even determine the identity of the victim, much less the criminal, finding answers was extremely difficult.
どういう状況かわかるかしら?
Oh god, I keep yawning, sorry. I couldn't imagine such a strange sight, even if I tried. This was the first time I was ever thankful for my lack of imagination.
被害者は生きながらにして全身の皮を剥がれ、あらゆる拷問を受けていじめ殺されたんです。そして死後にもさらに遺体を分解解剖と残虐の限りを尽くしたのではないかって。
Why not?
筆者は見ている。
Oops.
私はどの工程も生きているうちにやったんじゃないかって思ってるんだけどね。前原君はどう思うかしら?
She spoke in a way intended to make me imagine even more vicious things. Yeah, I know, she is really egging him on here. Like, I don't know. I don't know. She needs to get a grip, I guess. Couldn't tell ya. As my brain was already far over capacity, however, there was no way I could imagine anything more brutal. Then, when I broke my gaze from Takano-san's, those strangely shaped weird tools were all around us. I wonder if you could faithfully reproduce the mutilated corpse discovered at the end of the Meiji era, with all the tools found in this place. I want to deny it. I don't want to admit that something so terrible could have happened at all. Even so, they were so strange, so terrifying, these tools, and as if they had seen through my attempt to escape from them, they did nothing but ridicule me silently.
その薄気味悪い事件が何だって言うんですか?
筆者はね、鬼ヶ淵村の恐ろしい習慣は明治以降の近代。ひょっとすると昭和初期くらいまでは残ってたんじゃないか。
I don't know when these periods are. I don't know when. I got like God. When Showa period started in 1926, ended in 89. This corpse, at a glance, appears to have been brutally killed after a period of torture. In actuality, however, it was the pitiful sacrificial remains of the man-eater's terrifying feast. The corpse was just leftovers. It was so fantastic, so strange, that it didn't feel real. Was this an extension of the legends too? It happened in the Meiji era, though, which is just too recent to be called a legend. I got, like, isn't that that's the one I already looked up, right? Yeah, 1912, 1868, 1912, okay. God, I need a Japanese education, like, man. Also, there's a newspaper clipping right here suggesting it.
でも本当にあったとしたって昔のことですよ。
It was.
明治なんて言ったら、それこそ100年くらい前の。
たったよ。たった100年前のことよ。
Okay, like, I guess.
それにね、昭和に入ってからだってあるんだから、終戦直後に騒ぎになった人肉缶詰事件。
Canned flesh incident? What does that mean?
この話はタブーだったわよね。
Takano-san immediately stopped talking as if worried about Shion. Shion briefly looked somewhat angry, but that expression soon disappeared.
今、高野さん、なんて言いました？人肉缶詰って。
Just then, there was a huge creaking noise. Oh god. Everyone whipped around to look. I'm gonna write that down. Like, I'm really gonna write down canned flesh. Like, that's really good. I mean, I guess I can kinda get an idea, but... It was Tomitake-san who opened the door slightly, thank god. Unless someone's coming right now.
驚かせちゃったかな?
ここ、素敵な拷問道具の宝庫よ。
Yeah, that's not normal. Takano, come on.
僕は遠慮させてもらうよ。
Thank you.
生来ね、こういうのは苦手なんだ。
Takano-san held her stomach and had to muffle her laughter, as if she wanted to make a comment about his masculinity. Okay, come on.
それより、演舞とセレモニーが終わって、みんな沢の方に降りていったよ。
Man, we missed out.
あと何分もしないうちにお祭りは終わっちゃう。
We did not watch Rika's dance. That's just great. That's fantastic.
あら、いけない。前原くんがあまりにも聞き上手だから、またお話三昧になっちゃったわ。
I'd really rather you not mention me in a place like
次郎
this.
さんは表で待っててくれるかしら？私はちょっと写真を撮るわね。
Oh
本当はいく
God,
つか道具を
not
持って
pictures.
帰りたいんだけど、それはさすがに無理そうだからね。
I don't know, you could probably steal something. It'd be okay. Takano-san took a camera out of her paper bag and began to snap photographs. She looked like she was having fun, like she was on a scavenger hunt.
ケイチ君も出るかい？
もう十分に見ましたので。シオン、もういいだろう。出ようぜ。綺麗な空気が吸いたいよ。
同感です。出ましょう。
I did feel a bit of hesitation at leaving Takano-san by herself in this darkness. When I thought about it, though, I realized that whatever kinds of evil spirits and ghosts lurked in the darkness, none of them could hold a candle to how scary she was. Even if Phantasm were to appear, she'd be overjoyed and flash her camera at it. It seemed like Shion shared my somewhat rude mental images, and Shion is scarier than anything else. We exchanged glances and smiled painfully. We left Takano-san there, bathed in her strobe of camera flashes, and decided to go leave the ritual storehouse. Happy, fun music, let's go! Everyone at the festival seemed to have gone to the stream, so their voices were very distant. The voices of the bugs, on the other hand, were clear, lending an empty feeling of isolation to the place.
どうだい？面白かったかい？
Tomitake-san gave us a somewhat mischievous grin. He should have been able to tell by looking at how pale our faces
富
were.
武さんと一緒に留守番をしてればよかったです。
Tomitake-san laughed so delightfully that it wiped away her dark feelings.
シオンちゃんはどうだったかな？怖かったかい？
一応心の準備があった分怖くはなかったですけど、でもやっぱり実物は迫力あります。
Mm-hmm. Shion spoke like she wasn't scared at all. She really had been quite afraid, but seeing as how I was in a way worse state than her, I didn't have much room to talk. Jesus. As Tomitake-san grinned candidly, my mind, exhausted and locked up by nervousness, began to calm itself.
高野さんはおとなしく見物してたかな？
Not really.
彼女子供っぽいところがあるだろう？宝の山を前にさぞや興奮してたんじゃないかと思ってね。
Both Shion and I laughed and left that as our answer.
見るだけならいいんだけどね。こっそりと何かを持ち出したり、いじくりすぎて細具を壊したりしないかが心配なんだよ。
Hope not. Right, that's quite possible. She is alone in there right now. She might pilfer something small and easily concealed, hiding it in her pocket. They wouldn't notice. It'd be
や
okay.
りかねないです。
Shion said what I was
本
thinking.
当に何も壊したりしなかった。
You gotta hurry. Like, what if Rika's coming back with the hoe right now to put it up? Like, we gotta get out of here.
なんだかドタンバタンと飛び跳ねるような音がよく聞こえ
There's some noises, like someone jumping up and down.
不安で不安で。
ごめんなさい。
Okay, huh? What? Okay, is that like hello? Jumping noise? Like, I don't. Someone jumping up and down inside?
フィルムがなくなっちゃったわ。ジローさん、フィルムが余ってたら分けてくれないかしら。
Takano-san suddenly appeared while we were talking about her, taking everyone by surprise. Tomitake-san smoothly grinned and responded as if nothing had happened. He's pretty mature.
もう予備のフィルムは切れちゃったよ。申し訳ないね。
もう、いついかなる時でもフィルムを残しておかないと、決定的スクープ写真なんか撮れないわよ。仕方ないわね。
Tomitake-san scratched his head apologetically. Without film, we're done here. Takano-san seemed to have given up because of that too. We checked carefully to make sure we hadn't left anything inside, then closed the door and turned to the heavy padlock we'd left beside it.
高野さん、何も持ち出してないだろうね。
She wouldn't tell you.
失礼ね。そこまで子供じゃないつもりよ。
Click-clack. Tomitake-san set the padlock back to the way it was before. From a cursory glance, it didn't look like thieves had snuck in at all.
よし。
Alright, surely everything's fine.
僕たちも沢に行こう。
I don't know what those jumping noises are
泡を
about,
流すところくらいやらないと。
because, like, we
お
didn't
祭りに来た
hear
意味がない
anything.
よ。
Tomitake-san spoke brightly, urging us all on, setting cotton afloat down the stream. I shook my head a few times, driving away my dismal thoughts as to the double meaning. Takano-san, looking a little down, kept turning back to glance at the ritual storehouse.
もうこれっきりにしてくれよ。十分に知的好奇心は満たせただろう。
I think she has an unsatiable curiosity, unfortunately.
まさか。 むしろ新しい興味を惹かれるような発見ばかりよ。今日のでこれまでの仮説が一気に現実になったわ。これで今後の調べ方がだいぶ変わってくるんだから。
Fantastic. Wow, she's truly indomitable. Her curiosity really is something else. Still interested in all this, through and through. No? Okay, I thought we were about to get something. We're good. We descended the stone stairs, and all the people crowding the stream came into view. Near the bottom of the stairs, we could clearly see people receiving cotton that had been cut out for them, then wishing upon the cotton and setting it afloat down the stream. The festival was already over. Ooh, is Keiichi not going to do it this time?
まずったな。
That's terrifying, actually.
綿流しの一番いいところを撮影し損ねたよ。
I don't like that if Keiichi's not going to do it this time.
あら、まだ遅くないわよ。
But I guess how could anything possibly go worse for him than win an Onikakushi, you know?
私が言って流すんだから、私を取ってはくださらないのかしら？
Takano-san, with an impish expression, brought her head, to Tomitake-san's shoulder. Despite his age, he looked embarrassed. I felt an honest respect for Tomitake-san, man to man, for dating such a handful of a woman.
じゃあね、前原くん、しおんちゃん。
Yeah, goodbye. Sayonara. We'll see you never. You'll be dead.
僕たちは今からでも沢に行ってみるよ。君たちも一緒に来るかい？
まさかお二人の邪魔なんてできません。どうぞごゆっくり。
Shion waved her hand to them with an expression just as impish as Takano-san's. Tomitake-san, on his part, seemed to want us to come, but whatever. Shion gave a big stretch and sat down on the stone steps.
疲れちゃいました。
同感だな。
Very different Watanagashi experience than last
俺も
time.
疲れた。
ケイちゃんは綿流し初めてなんですよね。私なんか気にしないで行ってきてください。
What, she doesn't
私は
participate?
疲れちゃったんで、人混みはちょっとパスしておきます。
Yeah, if we were to go now, we'd barely slip into the end of the cotton drifting ceremony.
お姉たちがケイちゃんのことを探してるかもしれませんから、行ってきてください。
I'm sure they
そう
are.
だ。ミオンたちと別れたまま、それっきりだったな。
At least they got separated, so he can just say he couldn't find him or
探
something.
してると悪い。
Then, Shion suddenly got a playful look on her face, then put her index finger to her lips, as if telling me to keep this a secret.
お姉ってすっごく嫉妬深いんです。
Yeah,
私がケイちゃんを独占してたことがバレると、いろいろうるさいんで、今夜のことは秘密にしておいてくださいね。
Keep tonight a secret. Don't say things that are so embarrassing.
そういう意味だけじゃないですよ。
Oh yeah, you would get murdered.
今夜、私たちがしたことを思えば、秘密にするのは当然です。今夜起こるかもしれないお社様のたたり。私たち4人が最有力候補なんですからね。
Well, it'd only be two, right? It won't be you two. It's okay. It's okay. The loosening threads of tension became taut again. Shion, however, burst out laughing.
じゃあ、私はお姉に出くわす前に退散します。今日は本当に疲れてるから、お姉とやり合えるだけの体力はないですし。
To put up with her, she puts up with you.
シオンって、ミオンと仲がいいのか悪いのか、よくわからないな。
仲、いいですよ。
Do you? Though she said that, her vague expression explained that there was a lot of oddities in a relationship between twins.
俺は一人っ子だからよくわかんないな。せいぜい仲良くしろよ。
はい。余計なおせっかいと受けたまわります。それじゃあ私はこの辺で。ケイちゃんも急いで行った方がいいですよ。本当に綿流しが終わっちゃいます。
Shion stood up and brushed the dust off her backside. After watching her do so, I returned my eyes to the final ceremony of the Watanagashi festival below me.
でも本当に、あの音は何だったんでしょうね。
Okay, so she heard it too. Okay, that has to be the thing that she... Okay,
不愉
yeah.
快というか、気味が悪いというか。
Why would only Tomitake and Shion be able to hear it?
何の音だって？
音ですよ。ドタンバタンって。
Okay, but I
うるさかったじゃないですか。
was giving her blank expression, so Shion stared hard at me. I stared hard at her
ごめ
too.
ん、シオン。走らないで最初から説明してくれないか。何がうるさかったって？
ケイちゃん、気にならなかったんですか？
Okay, but when all's said and done, It was like we were speaking two different
シ
languages.
オン、冗談抜きで初めから説明してく
I
れ
don't, I don't, I don't think there's anything to explain. There was just the
音が
sound.
どうしたって？
ケイちゃんこそ冗談抜きで本当に気にならなかったんですか？
Neither of us was giving any ground, and both of us were staring at the other in disbelief. We were answering questions with more questions, with no sign of an actual conversation in sight. Did it sound like it was inside the place with you? Baffled, I held in the urge to shout at her and ask politely one more time.
もう一度聞くからな。
What, to shout at her? What do you call, like, hello? Like,
質問は俺からだ。
Shion nodded
じゃ
silently.
あ聞くぞ。音がしたって何のことだ？
ドタンバタンってなんだかどこか遠くの板の間で子
Okay,
供が跳ねてるような。
somewhere far away.
本当に気にならなかったんですか？
気にならないも何も。そんな音いつ聞こえた？俺は何も聞いてないぞ。
ちょっとケイちゃん、それ
I know,
本気で言ってるんです
he's
か？
lying for fun. Shion, as if she didn't understand my plain and simple answer, pressed me further, her expression serious. I have no clue what she's talking about. But if it has Shion acting like this, whatever it was, it gave me the creeps and sent a chill down my spine.
さっき最後伝の中で高野さんと一緒に見て回
Yeah,
った
yeah, it's when she was being weird,
高野
yeah.
さんが昔話を始めた頃からかな。少しずつだんだんとちょくちょくと。
She heard a banging sound, like a child jumping on distant
嘘
floorboards.
だろ？最後の最後で怖がらせるのはなしだぜ、おい。
I didn't hear anything at all. In fact, it was so utterly silent in there that my own heartbeat was almost deafening.
ケイちゃんこそ
I just don't, because Tomitake heard it too, so I know it's not just Shion trolling me. So I just don't understand.
なんだか高野さんの怖い話に合わせて音を立ててるようで、私ずっと薄気味悪かったんですから。
The chill rose from my spine to the back of my head. My blood turned cold as it crawled up my body. When it reached my head, my mind froze
ケイち
over.
ゃんも高野さんも全然意にも介さない風だったので、私も聞こえないふりをずっとしてましたけ
And
ど。
Takano couldn't hear it, yeah, so it's not just
聞
Keiichi.
こえましたよね。何度かはすごく大きな音でしたから。
Shion's eyes were begging me to tell her I heard it. I had no doubt, however, that my eyes suggested something entirely different. A "you've got to be kidding" look. In that storehouse, we were surrounded by brutal ritual tools that looked like they were from another planet, listening to terrifying old stories. The whole time, Shion had been hearing a sound that we couldn't hear by herself. Should that make Shion, who heard it, tremble, or should it make me, who didn't hear it, tremble? I didn't know the answer to that at the time. For now, Shion seemed to have made the decision before I did. That decision.
なんだよ、突然。
引っかかりましたね、ケイちゃん。
Okay, no, so, okay, no, there really was a sound, because Tomitake brought it up too. She's not trolling. She isn't trolling me. She's pretending to troll me, because, like, she doesn't want to, like, I don't know, she doesn't want to think about it or something, you know? She doesn't want to,
嘘ですよ。
No, you weren't.
はあ？
Shion laughed, saying how easily scared I was, and clapped me on the back. No, I don't believe her at all. Her smile seemed somehow artificial, and actually made me feel worse. Then, after leaving me with 2 or 3 generic, diplomatic goodbye phrases, she left, almost like she was running away. All I could do was look after her, my mouth agape. At the end of the day, I didn't have a clue what was going on. Shion laughed it off, and said she had been lying, but she couldn't possibly have been lying. Of course not. And now that I think back, Tomitake-san said the same thing, didn't he?
なんだかドタンバタンと飛び跳ねるような音がよく聞こえたからね。僕は不安で不安で。
Tomitake-san, the most neutral party present at the time, had said he'd heard something. Then, that noise, it was real? The banging sounds. Sounds as though a child was jumping up and down on some kind of floorboards, far away. Oishiro-sama's curse, which happens every year, might happen again tonight. The most plausible victim candidates were Takano-san, Tomitake-san, Shion, and me. The bustling of the people sounded further away than I would have liked, and the sounds of the insects sounded too close for comfort. I'm near so much human warmth, and yet I can't ever go back there again. That was the ominous idea that sprouted in my mind. I mean, okay, obviously the idea of people hearing things that other people can't hear makes me think back to the idea I was having in Watanagashi the whole time about Keiichi going crazy and, like, hallucinating stuff, right? But, like, why Tomitake and Shion being the ones that it happens to is so weird. Unless maybe Shion will die to the curse. That'd be awesome. If Shion dies to the curse this year, and it's Shion and Tomitake. I just don't know. Then, all of a sudden, I was pounced on from behind, causing my heart to lurch. He's dead. It was Rika-chan. When I turned around, Mion and Rena were there too.
やっと見つけた。あとはsatokoか。今年はみんなはぐれちゃったね。来年からはちゃんと合流場所を決めておきたいな。そうだね。やっぱりお祭りはみんなと一緒でないとね。
I listened to Mion's happy declaration with a little bit of guilt. Oh, God. Oh, you have to lie to her. Okay, you know, what if she messed up horribly? Like, oh God, no. Yeah, what if she messed up really bad? Oh God. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Please. I tensed up as I realized I'd made a mistake of my own. Mion slapped a hand on my shoulder a little roughly. A gross sweat broke out over my whole body. Did you do it too? He didn't. You haven't yet, right? Is what I could hear her saying. Feel her saying. Yeah. Without the courage to tell any more lies, I lifelessly shook my head. Okay. Sure. Mion took my hand and we started walking down the stone steps. Were you hanging out with Shion? Okay. Yeah, I knew that would... My heart skipped another beat. She's jealous, come on. Maybe Mion could sense my surprise through my hand. That would be insane. Imagine that was actually Mion the whole time pretending to be Shion. Yeah, Mion's momentary silence was like a death grip upon me. I wish. Mion's expression returned to her former usual smile, and we continued down the stone steps, her firmly pulling my hand along. That gotta be the end of the chapter, right? It was so long. I mean, if I had done all of this at once, it would have been like 2.5 hours. So I guess he is gonna set Cotton adrift. Yeah. I'm no way I'm doing the tips. I gotta go. So I dropped my pen. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, that was good. We're getting into it, I guess. You know, we're getting back to crazy shit happening, I feel like. So, I don't know. They did say at the beginning of the chapter that the difficulty isn't as high as Onikakushi, so maybe that means things will end up better for Keiichi. I guess we'll see. Yeah, we'll read the tips next time. We'll do chapter 8 next time. I don't know, the chapters have been long, so... Okay, well, that was good. I guess... Oh, God. I guess we will see. I don't know, leave a comment, tell me what you think. I will see you in the next one.